Hello, my name's Ruth Francis. I'm an Enterprise Coordinator at Sussex County Council in the Careers Hub. I'm joined today by Emma, who's from Pierce Marketing. Hi, Emma.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us. I wondered if we could start with, first of all, a little bit of an idea about what marketing actually is.
Okay, I'll try and do a very simple, quick definition. Basically, every business needs to do marketing, and it's all about really making sure that the people that could be your customers for your products and services know about you, and that you communicate with them in the right way so that they get to know about what you sell, how they can buy it, and all that good stuff through lots of different marketing channels and different ways of communicating with them.
Brilliant, thank you. And so, Emma, can you tell us a little bit about your job title and how you came to be doing that now?
Okay, so technically I'm a marketing consultant and I'm the owner of a marketing agency. So we help lots of different businesses with their marketing. And so in terms of how I came to run a marketing company and where I got to be involved with marketing to start with was really that initially at school I did quite well, but then I didn't really want to go and do A-levels. So I was looking for something that was a bit more mixed and with varied content for me. So I went and did a business studies course, and within that one of the modules was marketing. And I realised I liked it, and I quite liked understanding how people think and how people buy, and then all the different ways in which you communicate, and that really appealed to me. And so then I went on and I did a marketing degree, so I focused just on that, and then I went out into the world of work after that. But I think what was really important for me is that I did what's called then at least a sandwich course. So I actually did a year in industry as part of my degree, and that was really brilliant because I got to use some of what I've learned in a real world environment and then take what I learned from that business into my final year, and then that really helped give me a boost of really knowing how I would apply everything I was learning, which always helps, isn't it? It's always difficult when you think, oh, when am I ever going to use this? When's this going to be useful? But actually I could really see how it was useful, and it really helps you apply yourself then back on your final year and doing your work then.
Okay, brilliant. And just because some people might be wondering this, is it essential to have a marketing degree or another kind of degree to get into marketing?
I think there are no doubt many businesses who like you to have a marketing qualification of some sort, whether it's from college or from a university or polytechnic, but it is something you can work your way up in if you certainly have some of the skills, which I'll probably come on and talk about later.
Okay, marvellous. So I believe you've got some tasks that you can show us that might give us a bit of an insight into what you're doing day to day.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think really day to day we help people with lots and lots of different types of marketing. So that's partly why I love marketing work, really, is that it's so varied. And so what happens is you might be helping people get ready for an exhibition. You might be helping people with email marketing or direct mail or getting a new website ready or doing social media ads and all that sort of thing. So there's lots and lots of different things, and some are called traditional marketing. So the things that are not on the computer, basically, they're not online. And so that's things like exhibitions and direct mail and sending gifts through the mail, that sort of thing.
So direct mail, you mean that when you get a leaflet through saying, oh, buy double glazing, would that be direct mail?
It can be, yes, that can certainly be direct mail. And then you can have much more targeted direct mail, which is where you're only choosing to send it to people that are your right target audience, and you actually do have their details and you personalise it. So it would say, dear Ruth, I know that you like this, that and the other. I therefore think you'd like to have this too, or you'd be interested in reading this. And so there's different levels. So you've got a flyer from your local kebab shop that's saying come and buy from us, and then you've got something much more personalized. So there's different levels of direct marketing. Absolutely. So we have another term as well called B2B or B2C. So B2B is where you're doing business to business. So that's where I've got perhaps a manufacturing company and they want help with their marketing, and we're both businesses and we're working together. And then there's something called business to consumer, which is where I might be helping a company that's selling to you and everyone else that's listening. So I might be selling books or clothes or records or, you know, anything that might people might be after. So we do a lot of B2B and B2C. So we're helping people with that, and they both require a different type of marketing. So if you're in manufacturing, you might not use Facebook and Instagram or TikTok for your marketing, but if you're actually selling makeup or some fashion, it might be great that you're on TikTok and Instagram, you know, so there's different types of marketing suit different people and different types of markets that you're dealing with. So one example I was going to share with you, perhaps, if that's okay,
yes,
is an example of a Facebook ad and how you make sure that, you know, if I'm doing a Facebook ad for a certain type of audience, that only the right people see it. So I'll just share my screen, and what I'll do is I'll give you a little demonstration of that. So that should just be starting to come up. So here's an example of an advert. Now, hopefully you can see this okay. It's
yeah, all looks fine.
Canine Training, right? And what they are is they're a company that basically do a special type of dog training, and that's for people when they're outdoors, particularly like when they're perhaps out on some of the downs and the lovely fields we have. You want to make sure you've got control of your dog so they don't chase the sheep, but also you want to have lots of fun with them and entertain them, and especially some breeds are, you know, quite intelligent. They like having games and activities. So this company, they specialise in that sort of thing. And they had, you know, at Christmas time, they had an offer on for one of their days of training that you could do. And it was actually a session, sorry, a 2-hour session, not a day, but you could go along to them one day and do a 2-hour session, learn all about different techniques and have lots of fun with your dog, with them, learn some training and some fun activities. And they needed to promote this voucher they had that was going to be reduced at Christmas time. So what you can see here is that we've got a striking image of a dog, and if you're a dog lover, that would appeal, particularly if you own one of these particular breeds of dog. We've got
he's a lovely spaniel, I think.
It is indeed. And so we've got a little clue about what it's about there. It's 2 hours of scent fun with your dog. And then we've got save £25 and a bit of a bow on, so it's a bit of a Christmassy offer kind of feel to it. And then we've got our text at the top where you can see just about, I think that we've used a few emojis in there, just make it a bit of fun. And then down in the bottom corner, there is actually a shop now button. And so what that means is people can click on this shop now button and that would take them directly to the website where they can go and find out more. So I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed and think, oh, I need a present for my dad. He's difficult to buy for, but he loves his dog. Oh, this is great. I quite like the look of this. Click here. I'm on the website. I can buy straight away. So how did we set up?
It's very appealing looking, Emma. Yes, I would definitely click on it myself.
Good, good. So what happened here is that we actually set up this advert in Facebook, and what we were able to do is say that we wanted to target it at only people that were based within a 20-mile radius of the area that they do this training in, because we obviously don't want to show this document or this advert to people that just live too far away and they simply won't be travelling that far for a 2-hour lesson. So we decided a 20-mile radius of the area where they're based. We targeted at people that were from 28 to 65 and older, because they're people that maybe could afford this activity, they would own a dog, they would have a car, they could travel in, you know, that sort of thing. It was likely to appeal. Men and women love their dogs, so we weren't targeting by gender specifically. And then we were able to put in interest. So in this particular case, we focused it on the breeds of dog that we know the trainers say particularly respond well. So Cocker Spaniels, Springer Spaniels, Golden Retrievers, Labradors. But there's a lot of people that love rescue dogs, and it's quite a common sort of interest these days. So we put that in there as well. And dog lover was an interest. You can also add in things like pet insurance and other things as well. So we then chose a date that we wanted to run it to and from, which you can see was in the lead up to Christmas. And we were going to spend £200 on the advert, and then it ran. And it told us then how many people were likely to see that ad each day. And I can quickly let you know what the results were as well. And so we actually, in this particular instance, we were paid for our time a little bit, but the actual cost of Facebook for the advert was £150. And as you can see here, 312 people clicked on the ad, and they actually, 11 of them bought the package, which was the one we were advertising, the scent package. But actually, they had sales of 5,600, which was significantly higher. But that was because people were attracted, went to the website, and then thought, oh, actually, well, that's very nice doing a 2-hour scent day. But actually, oh my goodness, they have other training sessions that I could do, and they sound really great, so I'm actually going to book myself for that, or offer to buy that for someone. So what actually happened was it built a lot of awareness of them as a business as well, for people perhaps buying then or later or for additional services. So that was really great. And the other interesting statistic from a business perspective is that it says every link click only costs 48p. Now, if you think about the cost of printing and postage on a direct mail, or you think of an advert in a newspaper or in a magazine, or even an online ad on a certain website or Google ads, they're going to cost significantly higher amounts. So this ended up being a very cost-effective ad, and in fact we've just done one in the last few weeks, and it came down as low as 12p. It was a particularly successful ad. But other times, if you're in a competitive market, you might be that it's £1 or £2. It really will vary. But as you can see, for a small business, this was a very cost-effective exercise for them for marketing. And what I want to quickly do now is just show you, actually, if you're in Facebook and you go into the settings, into the back area of Facebook. So this isn't what people see, but this is where you as a business decide who you want your advert to be shown to. And you could go in and you can actually put in the locations. So I could add in here, for example, I could add in Ringmer. Let's see if that's actually in here. Look, Ringmer England is in there, so we could add that as another location. So this is now saying that I want my ad to show in Eastbourne and in Ringmer, for example. And then I could choose to actually say whether I want it to be just within that city or within a radius of miles, and I can make that get bigger or smaller. And so I can really set that. And amazingly, for Facebook actually, is you can actually even get down to a street level, and you could even target an advert at a street if you wanted to. So it's incredible. It is the best of all of the social media platforms for targeting geographically. So as we go down, then you can have chosen your geography, and then as we carry on going down, sorry, my cursor's just messing around, there we go, we can also add in the age group. So it might be that perhaps if I've got a product that's very much more for a younger audience, or perhaps it's for parents of young children, I might choose to bring that age down and perhaps only go to 50-year-olds, and then I think, okay, these are the people that might have teenage children or children at primary school, and I meet them. Now, if I just divert your eyes over to the right-hand side of the screen, what you can see here is it's not completely and utterly foolproof, but it's a guide to you of actually how many people would be relevant to this ad so far with the criteria that you're putting in. So at the moment, you can see that there's 62,000 people that live in Ringmer and Eastbourne that are between age 18 to 50. And at the moment, we're saying that that's targeting men and women. We could decide to just target women, and you'll see straight away that those numbers have dropped, and we're now at 45,000. But what we're doing is we're trying to get this little dial to have this needle within this green area, so our audience is big enough, but not too big. So as we go down, the most important thing is this targeting, and it's where a lot of businesses have gone wrong with advertising in the past, is that they haven't tried to make sure their ad is really only shown to the people that are relevant. So in this case, we can put in breeds of dog, we can put in pet insurance, but it might be, say you're advertising something that's to do with cookery classes. Let's pick a completely different topic. And you might think, well, actually, people that watch Great British Bake Off are the people that like cooking. And so we might type in the names of TV programs, and here you can see it, it's an interest, and I could click that. And now this advert would be shown to people that have shown with the way they are on Facebook, with what they've interacted with or pages they follow, that they like that. And so you can carry on and click loads and loads of different things in here. And there's demographics, so that can be much more about and behaviour. So it can be about what devices you use, whether you often buy on Facebook, and whether you're married, whether you've got children of certain ages, all sorts of different things like that, and job titles, what courses you've studied at university, and basically Facebook's using information that you've put on your profile, or that is about things you've interacted in on Facebook. So, for example, in the past, I've targeted ads just at people who have been physiotherapists and occupational therapists, and have got different types of wellbeing type skills, because there was a wellbeing centre that wanted to recruit someone to rent a room. And so we used Facebook not only for selling things, but actually for renting out a room, or for you can use it again for hiring staff as well. It's got lots of applications. So you put in lots of details in there, and then you can actually go down and you can put in lots of different information about whether you want that ad to also show on Instagram, and whether you want it to perhaps only show in stories or only in the newsfeed, and lots of other things as well. But it's really, really important to get all of that right. And then it can be a great success for a business. And I'm sure, you know, the students that are listening and watching this another day, they will have all responded to adverts, and you've probably seen things that might have been to do with, I don't know, longboarding or makeup or anything else, you know, and it's been targeted at you because you like someone who might be perhaps a really popular influencer on Instagram who's now doing all of these amazing tricks on their scooter or their makeup tutorials or whatever, and you know, you follow them, and then you're starting to see adverts from companies because they say, we'd like our advert to be shown to people that follow these influencers because they know you've got an interest in what they talk about.
Yeah, you've really shown the trail of how that works.
Yeah. So for example, when I was actually building my office, my colours for my business is quite a lot of orange in there, and I was looking for some orange desk lamps, and I was on Google looking at different websites for that, Amazon, John Lewis, I don't know, different places trying to find an orange desk lamp, and then I go onto Facebook and suddenly I'm being shown adverts for orange desk lamps in my feed on Facebook. And that's because there's also another trick of the trade, which is that you actually put a special bit of code on your website, and on your website page you put a bit of code, and if someone looks at that web page, they will then get shown an advert when they next log into their social media.
Clever.
So that's
clever and slightly scary.
yes, but all very clever and good for business where you're trying to, you know,
yeah, very good for business.
So,
excellent. Thank you so much, Emma. No, it's really interesting. So we did talk before about how much time you spend on digital as opposed to more kind of traditional forms of marketing. And has that really changed? Are you sort of seeing that most of your business tends to be digital now?
A lot of businesses digital, but some businesses definitely still need to be in traditional because that is what works well for them because of who their customers are. So for example, if you've got customers that are all over 75, probably there will still be some magazines they might read or a newspaper they read, and possibly that would work for them. Admittedly, you know, my mum's in her early 70s, and you know, she's on Facebook, she's on Instagram now as well, so it's changed over time. But in the past, I've helped someone who was actually selling retirement apartments, and I ran a focus group with people that were all over 75 at the time, and you know, they definitely, where you get really nice local magazines that get posted through doors, and so you get them and you can look at them at home with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, you know, whatever takes your fancy. That's nice to have a publication that they feel is trusted and local and presented well, so that could still work. Equally, I've got a company who doesn't have a lot of customers as companies, but they're quite high value to him, and he likes to build up a really personal relationship, and so he tries to send actually a newsletter in the post, and he sends gifts when people buy from him, because that builds up a really lovely relationship, much more than an email that might get lost in amongst every other email they've got. So he's trying to stand out and be different because there is so much digital marketing now. If you actually send something by direct mail, it's often like, oh, someone sent me some post, I don't get posts anymore, you know, and people actually start to look at it again. So it's almost like some elements of the older traditional marketing techniques are coming back because we've gone too digital. But equally, you've got the opportunity to use so much digital these days, and it is so cost effective, it's so measurable, you can really understand whether it's working or not, and the best thing really is to do a blend. So if you're at an exhibition, for example, you should be doing social media posts before and after and during the time you're there, and you'll do a follow-up email, and you might have done a social media ad to tell people to come along to the event, so you're blending the things together.
Okay, so interesting. So Emma, just a slightly random question. Is there anything that you use day in, day out that you couldn't live without as a marketeer?
I think it's probably as a human being as well as a marketer, to be honest, but it is the mobile phone. There's no doubt that that is really crucial to everything we do. You know, if you do an email marketing campaign, you need to check whether the email looks right on a mobile and that everyone can do everything correctly. I can go into here and I can be doing my social media posts. So, you know, if I'm on TikTok or I'm on Instagram, you do those posts through a mobile. You can't do them through a desktop computer. So, you know, there's some things now that are only on mobile. So without a doubt, that's a really important aspect of what I do. And obviously, it's just nice to speak to people as well. You know, people do like personal interaction. And then with my team, you know, WhatsApp is our main way that we chat and message each other all day with different hints and tips, because again, email inboxes are so full. It's nice to have an internal messaging with them. And then I think the other thing really is Canva is a tool that's been really, really useful, and that's spelled C-A-N-V-A, canva.com. And for anyone who's not a graphic designer, it's absolutely fantastic for creating images for your social media feed. So where you might not want to be paying out for a graphic designer all the time because you've already got some lovely branded photographs or text and images that you use, you can actually put together your own social media posts that look professional without being a qualified graphic designer, and save time and just be really quick to get things ready onto social media. So I'd really recommend everyone actually listening has a little go at that. It's completely free to open up an account on Canva. And even if it's, you know, yourself, you might want to create a nice design for some invites for your own birthday party even, you know, it's fun, and get used to using that. And you can use your own brand colours, your own brand fonts on there, and you can pay £12 a month or something like that to be able to then have, you know, all of your branded things stored in the Canva screen as well. So it makes it super quick to be on brand and not mix up your colours and fonts when you shouldn't be.
Okay, that's great. That sounds something fun to have a play with. And in terms of, you know, you've described a lot of different variety, you know, the exhibitions, the direct mail, the social media, digital marketing, across all those different things, like, you know, what do you especially enjoy about your marketing role?
I think, like you've touched on already, I think the fact that it's so varied keeps life really interesting. And the fact we've got clients that prefer one mode or another, or because of who their target market is, you know, who is their ideal customer, you get to do a different mix of them. So without a doubt, that's great. And I think what is exciting now about digital marketing is because you get so much data about how many people looked at it, who opened it, you know, what did they do, did they buy, you know, you've got so much data you have at your fingertips straight away. You can see whether something's successful and you can start changing it. Whereas in the old days, you know, if you were doing an advert in a newspaper, you had to create it, send it off, hope they printed it correctly, hope people bought a newspaper, hope people remember to tell you that they saw it in a newspaper, maybe they remember to quote something so you knew it was from that advert that it was successful. Whereas now, you know, you send an email newsletter and you can actually see the email addresses of everyone that's opened it and what time and when, you know, you've got so much data, it's great. So you're not wasting money on marketing.
No,
much more.
And it sounds like everything you're doing must be such an integral part of whether a business succeeds or fails. Like it sounds like an awful lot of it would be down to the success of what you're doing.
Yes, I mean, there is no doubt that marketing is really, really important, along with sales, to make sure that you attract people to your business and then that you give them everything they need so that they then go on and buy. But obviously you have to have the right product or service first, that is going to be right, and you need to have your brand, as in, you know, who are you, why do you do what you do, and, you know, some of you may have, you know, favourite brands that you buy from, and that's probably because there's some sort of emotional connection that you agree with them. Maybe it's that they're a very ethical company, maybe they don't take on animals, maybe they're good, trying to be good for the environment. You know, there's lots of different reasons, but trying to understand who your ideal customer is, what they like and what's going to make them feel happy, and making sure you have this consistent message is important. But no doubt, it doesn't matter how great the marketing is, if people, once they make contact with a business, don't get great service, it's all for nothing, because they'll think, oh, they were no good, and they'll tell all their friends that you were no good. So, you know, there's lots of important steps in the business process, but without doubt, obviously, if you don't get someone coming saying, I'm interested, that's a real difficult part.
They've got to know you're there, haven't they?
Yeah, and that's why even in this time, you know, with coronavirus, with an epidemic, a pandemic, or even a recession, you know, where things become more difficult for a while, it is important to keep your marketing up, because some companies will think, right, I'm cutting all my marketing spend, I'm not going to do any of that anymore, I can't afford to. But actually, if all your competitors do that, but you keep your voice going, and it doesn't have to be expensive, you know, keep posting on social media, that's just your time really. But you keep your name and your face out there, and you give away good advice, and you're helpful. Companies respect you for being helpful and start to think, well, you really know what you're talking about. But also they'll remember you when they have got money to spend, or they will only be aware of you because your competitors have not kept going, you know. So you're there and very visible.
Yeah, interesting point. So just thinking about some of the people who might be watching this, thinking it sounds really interesting. You know, what would you say are the key skills and attributes that someone needs to get into marketing and then be successful?
Okay, well, I did jot a couple of things down, so I should just look at my notes on this actually, because I think there's a couple of things really. I think no doubt communication skills is part of it. So I think having good writing skills, so, you know, trying to have some good English language skills for both. I mean, when I interview people, I want them to be good on the phone. I want them to be able to write blogs. I want them to be able to write social media posts without spelling mistakes and with the right grammar, but then also in a nice casual way, which is more, you know, how we all speak to each other in a more friendly way, but I need it to be spelled correctly, you know. And so it's really important that some of those basic communication skills are good, and be able to, you know, have eye contact with people and be able to listen. All those things are really important. And so I think the other thing is trying to have confidence with a bit of public speaking is often good as well, because certainly for small businesses, you do a lot of networking. So that's where you might go to a lunch or a breakfast and there's 30 other businesses there, and you're all perhaps having a 1 minute chance to stand up and say what you do, and then you get to know each other, maybe work together, maybe you're customers for each other. But, you know, being able to stand up and have confidence to give a 1 minute pitch, you know, about who you are and talk about what you do is great. It might be that you go and work on an exhibition stand and you've got strangers walking past all day long, and you've got to be able to start a conversation or ask them about their business. So confidence, I think, with speaking is good. And then I think not being afraid of technology. You know, everything is digital marketing so much of the time. That, you know, having confidence with working with different social media platforms, being interested in learning about email marketing, Google Analytics, you know, things that help you with your job as a marketer. I've said about those communication skills. I mean, in bigger companies, they will have specialists that are more just even analysing data. So you don't have to be a people-facing person to now be involved in the data and really evaluating, you know, like those criteria we were just looking at on the social media ad. It might be that you're much more of a specialist in there, in identifying the right people once your colleague has perhaps got the information from the client. So, you know, it can suit different people in different roles. And then, so I think being able to be interested in tracking statistics and measuring things is important now, because you've got to justify why you're spending money on marketing and if it works. And then finally, I think just being willing to really think things through. So, you know, if you're a customer, if you're helping a customer, you've got to put yourself in the shoes of the person that actually buys and think, you know, why would they buy? What's important to them? And so a little bit of that psychology is quite nice to have, and an interest in why people buy.
Yeah, definitely. And am I right in, Emma, in thinking that there's a choice between working for an agency as you do, but you could also work client side? So a large organisation or even a medium-sized organisation would have their own marketing member of staff.
Exactly, and I've done both roles. I've grown up through my career doing both. So I've been running this business for 12 years, but before that I've worked in-house with companies. And so I've worked in construction and law and pharmaceuticals, you know, different sectors. And I think it's absolutely possible that you could get a job in-house for a company, and that's where then you might do the marketing for that business with your colleagues. You might even ask someone like an agency to come in and just help with something, but then you do the rest. And then you can also work for an agency and have different roles, you know, and responsibilities there too.
Okay, wonderful. So just sort of closing, do you have any sort of final bits of advice for anyone who's thinking, oh, marketing sounds really fun, I really fancy getting into it? Like, what would you say to a young person who's considering it?
Okay, I think I think trying to see if you can do some marketing modules in amongst some of your studies anywhere would be great, to just give you that original sort of starting point, and some inside information into the fundamentals of marketing. That would be really useful. There's lots of other free resources online, obviously, that you can look at. I think if you can have a go at trying to write articles or blogs, perhaps even that you've got a favourite subject that you like, perhaps you might even see something that an influencer that you like has talked about, and then you might decide to write something that's whether you agree with them or not, or what you would add. Just try and think about maybe writing some things, just practicing that, even if you don't show other people yet, but just have a practice with that. And then I think it's quite nice to keep an eye out on what you see in your social media feed. So in your Instagram or on your TikTok, just try and be aware, oh, that's a business, that post that's done that. Why have they done that? I wonder who they're trying to reach, and what are they trying to sell, or why are they doing that? And just start to see that. I think just become aware of marketing that's going on around you
Sure.
can be quite good as well. And seeing what you like and what you don't like as well, because there's not all good marketing out there.
That's for sure. And maybe trying some vlogging as well, doing that.
Yes,
doing
absolutely.
That. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, doing you might have a personal interest, and maybe it is, you do, if you're lucky enough to go on holiday, you might do a little travel vlog. You might be that you're really into scooting, and you do a custom built scooter and you show how you put it together. There's all sorts of things that you could do, and then run it by your friends and put it out there. Or it's, you make it as a series of little videos and put it on your Instagram or TikTok or something.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm just going to conclude with just a few little recommendations for people to follow up. So obviously, earlier Emma mentioned trying out Canva. So do take a look at that. It's completely free, and we'll let you design your social media posts, or if you want to make a little newsletter. It really does make some beautiful end results. So do give that a go. If you're wanting to learn about, as Emma's mentioned, there's lots of different roles within marketing. So if you go onto the National Careers Service website, you can find them there. So for example, we've got marketing executive, marketing manager, market researcher, social media manager, digital marketeer. There's lots of different ones. And as Emma's been explaining, like in a bigger company, you might get even more specialisms, or in a smaller company, you might be doing a little bit of every one of those different things. And it's also worth checking out marketing apprenticeships. So you can look on the UK government, find an apprenticeship service, and there are regularly marketing apprenticeships put on there where you can combine work and study. And obviously, of course, look at your local employers' websites as well. Marketing vacancies do come up there also. Thank you so much, Emma. I found that really interesting, and I think everyone else will too. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's been really fun, and I look forward to perhaps receiving any questions you'd like to send.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.